God's chosen ones. Stop and listen. God's timing is now. God's chosen ones. Tonight is not an ordinary night. As the clock nears midnight, heaven and earth fall silent, and your soul hears a calling. A shaft of light has pierced the darkness, signaling that heaven has marked this moment for you. You are not here by accident. You did not happen upon these words by chance. In this very moment, God is whispering, the plans I have for you are now. Jeremiah 29:11. You have waited, you have prayed, you have wept in silence. You thought God had gone quiet, but in truth, He was arranging things. Not one tear of yours has fallen in vain. Every time you stumbled, the angels took note. You may think you have been forgotten, but in fact you have been chosen. And tonight that marking is revealed. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That is not just life. It is a signal that a mission within you remains unfinished. Do you hear it? In the silence, there is a bell. In the darkness, there is a light. And the whole universe is saying in one voice, your moment has come. As you hear these words, God has already sent you a sign. It might be the repeating number 7, a dream you just had, or a strange coincidence during the day. Do not ignore it. For this space, this hour is your ordained appointment with Him. You are the main character of the story that is beginning. Someone once tested, seemingly broken, yet lifted to wear the crown. You are no longer a bystander. You are at the center of the divine plan. And tonight, this prophecy is the key that opens the door you have longed for. Do not leave, for what you are about to hear next may change your life forever. A new dawn is rising, and you, chosen one, are the one called by name. Part 1, From Pit to Palace. God's chosen one. Let your heart open in this moment. I want to tell you a story that is not merely history, but a mirror for your own life. The story of someone who seemed buried yet was lifted by heaven to prove that when God sets the time, no pit can hold the chosen one. Remember Joseph, a young man carrying dreams so great they stirred suspicion and ridicule among his family. His brothers not only mocked him, they plotted to remove him from their lives. Then one day in a dry wilderness, Joseph was thrown into a pit. Dark, cold, the earth walls closed in, and the dream seemed buried. Have you ever felt the same when the world looks at you and says it's over? Your dream is dead. But let your heart tremble with one truth: the pit is not the end. The pit is only the secret stage where God begins to write the next chapter. Men see darkness, but heaven sees a seed waiting to sprout. Men see imprisonment, but heaven sees preparation. Maybe you have been betrayed, pushed into a situation you would never choose. Perhaps you lost a job, money, a relationship, or health. In that moment, you asked God, "Where are you?" But I tell you today, He is right there in the pit with you, witnessing and turning your pain into provision. Joseph was sold into slavery, from a free son to someone else's property. There were times he believed the dream had become a distant illusion. Yet in Potiphar's house, Joseph learned administration fidelity in small things, which led to being entrusted with great responsibility. Do you see it? Even in disappointment, God sows lessons. You are not abandoned. You are being trained. Then came prison. There Joseph had every reason to be bitter, to give up. But instead of letting the dream die, he used his gift to serve others. He interpreted the dreams of fellow prisoners. Chosen one here is the secret. When you lift others while you remain confined, heaven remembers. Though your private prayer may not yet be answered, when you help others find light, you are paving the way for your own door to open. And then one morning that seemed ordinary, the palace called Joseph's name. The night before, he was still a prisoner. The next morning, he stood before the throne, interpreted the king's dream, and was appointed vizier. People call it luck, but heaven calls it timing. Chosen one, hear this: in God's perfect timing, one day will change the whole life. One moment will turn the whole story, and that moment is drawing near for you. Remember, Joseph was not raised merely to live for himself. He was lifted to save a nation from famine. Likewise, your lifting is not only for your blessing, but so that blessing will overflow to family, community, and generations. Now I invite you to pause for a few seconds. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes and imagine the dark walls of the pit around you beginning to crack. A stream of golden light pours down, shining straight onto where you stand, and you hear his voice. You thought you were forsaken, but in truth I have been preparing you. There are 3 keys Joseph held, and today they are given to you: forgiveness. When faced with the brothers who harmed him, Joseph said, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." You cannot enter the palace with a heart heavy with resentment. Forgiveness does not erase memory, but it frees your future. Faithfulness. Whether in Potiphar's house or in prison, Joseph worked wholeheartedly. It was that faithfulness that made his gift known. Be faithful in the small today, for it is preparation for the great tomorrow. Stewarding the dream, Joseph did not let his dream die in prison. He continued to nurture it, to exercise his gift, believing that one day the dream would be fulfilled. You too write down your dream, pray for it, train your gift every day, so that when the door opens, you will not be overwhelmed, but ready. Chosen one. I want you to do one thing right now. Take a pen and paper and write a person you need to forgive. One small task you will do excellently today, and one gift you commit to develop. Those are the 3 steps that will lead you from pit to palace. Tonight, as you hear these words, do not think you are merely watching a video. This is a divine encounter, a call from heaven to you, and heaven awaits your response. If within you there stirs a vibration, a strange, indescribable feeling, let it be your signal. Comment 7, hit 7 as your confirmation. I have heard, I have seen, I believe. For the number 7 is not just digits. It is the mark of completion, the declaration that you are ready to step out of the pit into the palace. Believe this: you are no longer bound by the pit. You stand at the threshold, and the hand of God is opening, inviting you in. Part 2. David's door opens. God's chosen one. Have you ever stood before a closed door? An opportunity you begged for yet never arrived. A path that seemed to open and then slammed shut right before you. You knock, you wait, you grow weary, and you ask yourself, does God hear, listen? Tonight I speak to you in a prophetic voice. The door of David is opening. The scripture says in Isaiah 22:22, I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. What he opens, no one will shut, and what he shuts, no one will open. Let this sentence ring in your spirit like a bell in the night. This is not a vague promise. This is a decree from the heavens, sealed before you were born. Chosen one, for years, you tried to force doors open by your own strength. You tried every knob, pushed hard, searched for other keys. There were times a sliver of light appeared, then closed again. Each time your soul felt another heartbeat break. But remember, those doors were not yours to open. God held them back so you would not take a wrong road. This was not rejection, it was protection. Now the season has come. You will see doors that have been silent suddenly swing wide. No knocking, no pushing, no explanations needed. Simply because the key rests on the shoulder of the Christ, and he has appointed you to walk through. Imagine walking down a dark corridor lined with dozens of doors. You try them all are locked. Sweat, fatigue, disappointment. Then suddenly at the corridor's end, one door opens by itself. Light pours out from within and illuminates the way, and you hear his voice. This is the door I have opened for you. No one can shut it. It may be the job you've prayed for. It may be healing in the family. It may be restoration of health, finances, or a dream you thought dead. I do not know the specific form it will take. But I know this, when David's door opens, everything will change. Chosen one, let your heart tremble a little, because this is not far off. It is right before you. Heaven has set the date and sealed the hour. If you listen closely, you will notice the sign, an unexpected call, an email appearing in your inbox, an old friend returning to knock an opportunity from a place you never imagined. Do not call it coincidence. It is a door opening, but a warning. When the door opens, you must have the courage to step through. Fear will whisper you are not worthy. The past will shout you have failed before. But remember, the door does not open because you are perfect. It opens because God has chosen you. And once He opens it, no one, neither person, nor devil, nor circumstance can close it. Place your hand on your heart right now. Feel the beat and speak aloud. I will step through the door God opens. Don't just think it, declare it. For your words hold power, and each word of faith you speak is a step down the corridor that leads to that radiant door. I recall the image of ancient Jerusalem with its high city gates. They did not open for anyone at any time. They opened for the king, for processions, for those marked. And now God says, you have the mark. You carry the key. You are not a wanderer. You are an heir. You have been rejected, but soon you will be welcomed. You have knocked until your hand was sore, but soon the door will open by itself. You were once called an outsider. Soon you will be called a child of the house. Chosen one, this is a prophetic word for you. Prepare to step through. Your task is not to force the door, but to prepare your heart to enter when it opens. Prepare by clearing out bitterness. Prepare by developing your gift. Prepare by cultivating faith. For when the door opens, you will not have time to turn back. You must be ready to move forward. Imagine again the door swings open, light floods in, and you step through. Behind you, the darkness closes. Before you, a new vast space where the dream you have long carried becomes reality, and heaven sings, "This is the appointed hour for the chosen one." Now I invite you to take a small action. In the comments, type "Svim as 77, not as a habit, but as a seal, a vow to heaven that I have heard. I am ready to step through the door God opens. And when you write it, believe you are not merely tapping keys. You are knocking on a holy door, and God, the keeper of David's key, will smile and say, "This door I have opened for you. No one can close it. Chosen one, lift your head. The dark corridor is ending. The light beyond the door awaits you. Do not fear. Do not hesitate. Walk, for David's door is open." Part 3, Overflow, God's chosen one. Have you ever seen a dam holding back water for years? Pressure building, accumulating, silent, unmoving. But then just one small crack, and the waters burst forth, sweeping away every barrier, transforming the landscape forever. That is the picture God is giving you tonight. He speaks through Malachi 3:10. "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Do you hear that? Not room enough to contain it. That means the blessing will not only be enough for you, but it will overflow, reaching your family, your community, even those you've never met. Chosen one, you've lived in a season of lack for too long. You've grown used to just enough. But now God is shifting your spiritual atmosphere from survival to abundance for giving. You are not only blessed, you are called to become a river of blessing. Remember, this overflow is not only about money. It is peace. It is health. It is wisdom, joy, love. There will be people who step into your home and say, "I don't know why, but I feel peace here." There will be weary souls who sit beside you and suddenly feel lifted. That is overflow. Picture yourself standing before a dry, cracked field, hardened soil, dead plants. Suddenly clouds gather and the heavens pour rain. The ground drinks deep, rivers fill, lakes overflow. Seeds long dormant break through and sprout. That is what will happen in your soul. Dreams once buried, prayers you thought forgotten, all come alive as God's blessings flow. But here this warning: overflow requires an open heart. If you clutch tightly, you will miss it. If you hoard, the flow will stop. A river only flows when it finds an outlet. And God's blessing only continues when you let it flow through you to others. You may think, but I have so little, how can I give? Remember the widow with the jar of oil in 2 Kings 4. The oil kept flowing as long as there were empty jars. In the same way, blessing in you will keep flowing as long as you pour it out. A word of comfort, a kind act, a seed of generosity, a prayer for another. Chosen one, you were made to be a stream, not a stagnant pond. Open your hands and you will see God fill you to overflowing. He wants to make your life living proof that His blessing knows no limit. Now I want you to imagine you are standing under a starry sky. Suddenly the heavens crack open and waterfalls of light pour down, covering you. You try to hold it, but it spills over, flowing through your hands, down your feet, spreading across the land. People passing by see it rush to you and are refreshed. That is your life to come. There is a moment that always chokes me up, when Jesus broke bread and fish to feed 5,000. From a few small pieces, He made overflow. No one lacked, and still 12 baskets were left over. This is the truth. God does not do just enough. He does more than enough. And when you become His vessel, you too will see blessing not only sufficient, but always overflowing. I want you to pause, take pen and paper, and write 3 ways you can pour out this week. Maybe call a lonely friend. Maybe give a small gift to someone in need. Maybe pray for someone in pain. When you write them down, you are creating empty jars for the oil to keep flowing. Chosen one, believe this. You were not made just to survive. You were made to overflow. You were not saved only for yourself. You were chosen to help save others. And the blessing God pours on you now is meant to make your life a river that flows without end. If your heart is stirring, if you feel waves rising in your chest, confirm it. Comment 7 as your vow: I will not hold back. I will let His blessings overflow through me. And as you do, believe that heaven records every word you write. God's chosen one, you have walked from the pit to the palace. You have seen the door open, and now prepare, for the blessings of God will not stop at you. They will flow through you, overflow, and shake generations. Part 4. The hem of His garment. God's chosen one. Have you ever felt like you've tried everything and hope is gone? Like a wound that won't heal, a pain that lingers, a dream that shattered and has weighed on you for years. You sought help, you knocked on human doors, chased earthly solutions, only to be left exhausted and empty. This is the picture of the woman in Luke 8 who had been bleeding for 12 years. No doctor could heal her. No amount of money could fix it. Each day she grew weaker, each hope fading. Yet in a single moment, with one small action, her whole life changed. She touched the hem of Jesus' garment. Chosen one, let this image sink into your heart. That woman did not have the strength to call out. She had no status to be invited forward. She only had a whispering faith. If I only touch His cloak, I will be healed. And just as she believed, the flow of blood stilled the moment she touched, her body restored. And Jesus said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you." Here is the message for you today. You do not have to be strong to be healed. You only need to believe. Perhaps your wound is not physical. Maybe it's a heart torn by betrayal. Maybe it's dreams broken so long ago you no longer dare to hope. Maybe it's childhood memories that still make you tremble. But hear this one touch, one whisper, and the Lord can renew everything. Imagine squeezing through a chaotic crowd noise, jostling dust stinging your eyes. In your mind, there is one aim: to touch him. You slip past layer after layer of people weak and trembling, not able to shout, but believing enough to reach out. The moment your fingers brush his garment, a holy current runs through you. Pain dissolves, burdens fall away, fear melts, and in one heartbeat, you know, I am healed. Chosen one, I must tell you, you are not invisible. That woman thought she would touch and slip away quietly, but Jesus stopped. He turned in the crowd and asked, "Who touched me?" Not because he did not know, but because he wanted the world to witness that a seemingly unnoticed person would be honored. You are the same. You might think God is busy with greater things, grand ministries, the powerful, but he stops for you. He knows your name. He knows the wound you hide. He wants heaven to hear him declare, your faith has healed you. I see in the spirit wounds you have never spoken. Perhaps words from parents cut you deep. Perhaps a relationship crushed you. Perhaps years made you feel worthless and unseen. But tonight, God says, my daughter, my son, with one touch, I will trade your tears for healing. And this healing is not only for today, it flows through you to generations. Your children will not carry the burdens you carried. Your family will not replay the cycles of pain, because when you touch the Lord, your spiritual bloodline is renewed. But to touch you must dare to move. The woman refused to be stopped by shame. She did not let the fear of what they will say keep her back. She knew there was one hope, and she risked everything on it. You must do the same, chosen one. You may fear failing again. You may worry others will ridicule you. Hear this, you do not need them. You only need to reach him. I invite you now to do this. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and reach your hand forward, not to touch the screen, but as a spiritual action. Whisper, Lord, I touch you. And when you do, believe that the healing power begins to flow through your body, soul, and spirit. Chosen one, some will mock you and call it simplistic to trust in a small action. Yet in simplicity, faith ignites. No elaborate ritual is needed, no long sermon, just one touch, one confident trust, and all changes. I want you to imagine tomorrow you wake and the anxiety that once squeezed your chest has gone. You walk into a situation that used to make you tremble, and now you are calm. You speak with the one who hurt you, and instead of bitterness, you feel forgiveness. That is the sign that you touched his garment. Remember, healing is not always loud. Sometimes it is silent, like the woman whose flow quietly stopped. But you feel it. You cannot deny it. Chosen one, once you are healed, walk as proof. Don't hide that light. Don't be afraid to share your story. There will be others in despair who need to know a single touch is enough. You will become a living witness, and your life will proclaim the gospel without words. Tonight I invite you to write in the comments, I touched him and I am healed. Not for others, but so heaven records it. Every word you write echoes in the spiritual realm, confirming that power has come to you. And from this moment when you walk, you are no longer the wounded. You are the healed. You are not labeled victim. You are the chosen one. And like the woman in Luke 8, you will hear his voice ring in your heart. Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Chosen one, believe, for one touch can change the whole story of your life. Part 5, the restorative strength, God's chosen one. Have you ever felt so exhausted you didn't want to take another step? Some mornings you open your eyes and ask, how can I go on? Some nights you toss and turn body and soul, weary thinking, maybe I have no strength left to dream, to fight, to believe. If that is you, listen closely to the Lord in Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Chosen one, this is no empty comfort. This is a promise of power. It means there is a kind of strength that does not come from coffee rest or human effort. It comes straight from heaven, from the one who formed you. Picture an eagle. When the storm rises, other birds hide and seek shelter. But the eagle is different. It does not avoid the storm, it flies into it. As the swirling winds lift, the eagle spreads its wings and lets the storm carry it to higher skies. God says this is your picture. What once tried to bury you will become what propels you. The opposing winds of hardship, the storms of testing, will no longer crush you. They will lift you to heights you never imagined reaching. Maybe you are weary because of waiting, but waiting is not wasted. In the waiting, God is restoring your wings. When you collapsed, when you ran out of breath, angels were stitching torn feathers and strengthening every muscle. Now you are about to spread your wings again, not to fly low, but to soar above the peaks of trial. I see in the Spirit some here believed they were finished. Strength gone, faith gone, opportunity gone. But God whispers, you are not finished. You are being prepared to receive new strength. Yes, chosen one, you are no longer the old version of yourself. You are becoming a new creation empowered by restorative strength the world cannot explain. Remember the times you thought you could not make it yet. Here you stand. How not because you were strong, but because an invisible hand upheld you. That same hand tonight lifts you once more. Close your eyes and imagine you stand in a plain wind, roaring sky black. When you spread your arms, you feel your body lighten. The wind no longer beats you down. It lifts you up, higher, wider. Suddenly the darkness that surrounded you fades and you see bright dawn. This is God's promise. You will soar like an eagle. Chosen one, do not fear weariness. Weariness is not the end. It is a signal that you need new strength, a strength only God can give. And when you wait on Him, He does not merely add a little. He renews completely, like replacing an exhausted battery with an endless source of power. Men may say, you're done. But heaven says you are just beginning. Your body may feel weak, but your spirit is being renewed. Your dream may seem aged, but in truth, it is only waiting for its season to break forth. Commit this to heart. Restorative strength is not for survival alone. It is for soaring. You will not shuffle along. You will run. You will not hang your head. You will fly. And when you do, the world will look up and marvel at what God has done in you. I invite you to a spiritual action now. Stand, spread your arms like wings, breathe deeply and whisper, I wait on you. Renew my strength. When you do, you are not merely stretching, you are activating a spiritual principle. You open the door for heavenly power to flow into your body, soul, and mind. Tomorrow, remember, every step will no longer be by your strength alone, but by new strength. When others tire, you will endure. When others fall, you will stand. And they will ask, what is your secret? You will smile and say, the Lord is my strength. Chosen one. If you sense this, affirm it by commenting, I will soar like an eagle. Not just words, it is your declaration to heaven that you believe in the restoration coming to you. From this moment, you will feel different. Your body will feel lighter, your mind clearer, your spirit aflame with fresh hope. God does not let you fall. He is making you a symbol of restorative strength. God's chosen one, spread your wings. The storm that once terrified you is now the wind beneath your flight. And when you fly, know this, you do not fly alone. The Almighty flies with you. Part 6. The fire calls your name. God's chosen one. Have you ever heard a calling inside you, quiet but persistent? A call that will not let you sleep, that will not let you settle for the ordinary. In the stillness of the night, perhaps your heart has whispered, surely I was born for something greater. This is not an illusion. This is the voice of God. In Isaiah 6, the prophet describes seeing the Lord seated on a high and lofty throne. Seraphim flew around crying out, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty." Smoke filled the temple, the ground shook. Isaiah trembled, realizing his own flaws. In that very moment, a seraph touched his lips, with a burning coal cleansing him. Then came the voice, "Whom shall I send? Who will go for us?" And Isaiah replied, "Here I am. Send me, chosen one." Tonight you stand in that very moment. A fire from heaven is burning not to destroy, but to purify. That fire does not come to condemn you, but to burn away chains of sin, shame, and fear. When the coal touched Isaiah, he was never the same. And when the fire of God touches your heart, you too will never be the same. You have asked, "Why has my life known so much suffering?" Hear this, your pain was never meant to destroy you, but to shape you into an instrument. One who has tasted suffering will have deeper compassion. One who has been abandoned will know how to embrace the abandoned. One who has fallen will know how to lift the fallen. This is why God calls you to turn scars into tools, tears into oil, brokenness into testimony. Picture yourself kneeling in a smoke-filled sanctuary. The air trembles. A seraph approaches carrying a burning coal. You are trembling, afraid, yet you do not step back. The coal touches your heart. It burns for a moment, but then a heat spreads through your body, consuming fear and shame. In its place, freedom bursts forth. You rise, your eyes shining, and you hear the Lord speaking, "Within whom shall I send, chosen one?" He asks not because he doesn't know, but so you may declare with your own lips, "Here I am, send me." That declaration changes everything. When you say it, heaven records it. The door of calling opens. The path before you becomes clear. Maybe you think, "I'm not ready. I'm not holy enough. I'm too flawed." Remember Isaiah. He cried, "Woe is me." But in that weakness, the fire touched and transformed him. You are not called because you are perfect. You are called because you are willing. When you say, "Send me," heaven's strength covers you. You will speak words not of yourself, but of the Spirit. You will go where you once feared. You will face those you once avoided. For when God's fire burns within you, you are no longer merely you are his instrument. Think of Moses, a stammering fugitive sent to confront Pharaoh. Think of Jeremiah, a trembling youth given words to shake a nation. Think of the disciples, simple fishermen, who once the Spirit's fire fell, shook the world. Chosen one, this is your moment. Tonight, the fire of God is not only calling Isaiah's name, it is calling yours. He does not need someone else. He needs you. He sees your heart, your scars, your tears, and he says, "I can use this to reach the world." I invite you now, do not wait. Do not hesitate. Place your hand on your heart. Lift your eyes and say, "Here I am, send me." When you say it, believe that the angels are recording. The fire is descending. From now on, you are no longer ordinary. You are a messenger. You are chosen. You are the voice in the wilderness. Tomorrow, you may still go to work, sit at the same desk, drive the same streets. But the difference is, this every step you take will carry anointing. Every word you speak will carry fire. Every embrace you give will bring healing. That is the proof you said, "Send me." Chosen one, this is not only Isaiah's story, this is your story. And tonight, the fire is calling your name. Do not quench it. Do not delay. Let it burn away every fear and make you his instrument. And when the world looks at you, they will not see an ordinary person. They will see the flame of God burning brightly. Part 7. The Keys of Authority. God's chosen one. Have you ever felt as if the whole world is against you? As if every step forward meets an unseen resistance? Doors that began to open slam shut. Promises that sparked hope are swallowed by darkness. You have cried out, "Lord, why am I always disturbed? Why am I always under attack?" Listen to this, you are not merely a victim in the spiritual battle. You are a warrior who has been given authority. Jesus said in Luke 10:19, "Behold, I give you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall hurt you." Chosen one. This is not a pretty Bible verse to hang on a wall. This is a heavenly legal decree, signed by the blood of the Lamb, declaring you have authority over demons, over darkness, over every scheme aimed at your life. Imagine you walk into a courtroom. The enemy stands there accusing you, bringing evidence to condemn. But then the supreme judge strikes the gavel and declares, "This one is acquitted, for he has been redeemed by the blood." Then the judge hands you a golden key shining and says, "I give you this authority. No one can take it from you." From that moment, you are not the accused. You are the one who carries authority. And whenever the enemy comes, you have the right to press your foot down upon it and see it vanish. But here is what many forget. Authority only works when you use it. A police officer with a badge in his pocket who never draws it can be overpowered by a robber. A believer with God's promises who never declares them will remain oppressed by darkness. Chosen one, you were not called to be silent. You were called to speak, to stand firm, to use the key of authority that was given to you. Remember when Israel faced Jericho, a city wall impossible to break by human might. God didn't tell them to swing axes. He told them to march and to shout. When they opened their mouths, power erupted and the walls fell. That is the picture of authority, not human strength, but a spoken decree in faith. I must be frank. Too long you have let the enemy whisper in your ear, "You are not enough. You will always fail. You will never be free." But tonight, reverse it. Open your mouth and declare, "I am the chosen one. I have authority in the name of Jesus. No weapon formed against me will prosper." Chosen one, I see in the spirit some here are shackled by fear. Every time you try to step out, the chains of past failure bind you. But tonight, take up the key of authority. Speak directly into that fear, "You have no authority over me," and the chains will fall. Others are trapped by lack, revolving in debt and scarcity. But when you take hold of your authority, you will declare, "I do not live in lack. I live in the abundance of the kingdom." And you will begin to see financial doors open and miraculous provision appear. Remember, authority is not for boasting. It is for liberation, freeing you and freeing others. When you pray for someone, you are not merely whispering hopes. You are declaring with authority, "Be healed in the name of Jesus," and sickness must obey. When you enter a tense room, your presence brings peace because you carry heavenly authority. I invite you to try this now. Plant your foot firmly on the ground and say aloud, "I trample every serpent, every scorpion, every power of darkness. They can no longer touch me." When you speak, do not be timid. Believe that every word you release is fire consuming the enemy's tents. Chosen one, you have lived too long as the hunted. It is time to walk as one who holds authority. You will no longer flee the darkness must flee you. For within you is fire power and the covering blood of the Lamb. Tonight, write in the comments, "I carry the key of authority." When you write it, you are not merely typing keys. You are signing a spiritual document. You are declaring to heaven and to hell, "I know who I am and I will live accordingly." God's chosen one, walk with your head lifted. When you speak, mountains will move. When you pray, doors will open. When you raise your hand, chains will fall. Not because you are strong, but because you carry the key of authority. And nothing, no one, no power can take it away. Part 8. The Never-Ending Oil. God's chosen one. Have you ever looked at your hands and thought, "I have nothing left"? There are seasons when you open your wallet and it's empty. Days when you open your heart and there seems to be nothing left to give. You look around and see others with plenty, while you feel you have only a little one drop, one grain, one the last breath. And you cry, Lord, why am I so small, so little? Listen closely, it's precisely in your little that God reveals a supply that never runs dry. In 2 Kings 4, there was a widow. Her husband had died, leaving a crushing debt. The creditor came to take her 2 sons as slaves. Despair stood before her. She ran to the prophet Elisha and pleaded. What shall I do? Elisha asked. What do you have in your house? She answered, only a small jar of oil, a small jar of oil. To human eyes, it was nothing, but to God, it was all he needed to start a miracle. Elisha told her to borrow vessels from her neighbors, as many as she could. Then shut the door and pour the oil from the small jar into the empty ones. The miracle unfolded. The oil kept flowing and flowing until every vessel was full. When there were no more empty vessels, the oil stopped. With it, she paid her debts and lived on with her sons. Chosen one, this is not just history, this is a prophecy over your life. You may see yourself as small, but in God's hands, small becomes overflow. You may have one drop of oil, one thin thread of hope, one fragile dream. If you place it in his hands, he will multiply it without limit. Here, this abundance doesn't start with what you don't have. It begins with what you already carry. The widow didn't need gold brought to her door. She only needed to recognize the value of the little jar in her house. So do you. Don't wait for more to believe. Don't wait to be perfect to be used. Right now, you already hold a jar of oil. Maybe that jar is a gift you've always downplayed. Maybe it's an honest prayer. Maybe it's a small skill you think amounts to nothing. But if you place it in God's hands, he will pour out multiplication. Imagine the scene. A small room, the door closed. The widow and her 2 sons stand over a single jar. Her hands tremble, her heart pounds. She tilts the jar, golden oil begins to flow. At first, she expects it to drip and be gone, but it doesn't. It keeps coming, fills 1 vessel, then 2, then 3. Her boy gasps, mother, another vessel. Footsteps scramble jars, shuffle the sound of oil, streaming hearts racing in joy and wonder. Soon the room is full of shining vessels, glimmering like treasure. Chosen one, hold this image in your mind. God is doing the same with you. You think you have only a little, he sees a hidden treasure. You say, is this all? He answers, this is enough. But here is the secret. The miracle continues only while there are empty vessels. What does that mean? God's pouring doesn't stop as long as there is room to receive and a heart willing to give. If you close up, the oil stops. If you open up your heart, your home, your hands, the oil keeps flowing. Perhaps you've seen God's oil once flow in your life and then stop. You asked, why, Lord? The answer may be you stopped placing empty vessels before him. Empty vessels symbolize hunger, humility, and readiness to be filled. If you believe you're already full, the flow ceases. If you remain thirsty, the oil runs again. I invite you to do this now. Write down one area in your life that feels empty. It could be finances, health, family, or your soul. Write it down and place it before God as an empty vessel. Then pray, Lord, fill me, and believe he will. Chosen one. The oil is not only for paying debts, it is for living, continuing, building a legacy. The widow didn't just survive a moment, she and her sons had a future. So will you. God's provision is not a quick fix. It is a continual source that never runs out. Remember Psalm 23:5, you anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. That is not a picture of a drip, it is a picture of overflow. A cup so full it spills over the rim, streaming down the table, soaking the floor. That is how God wants to pour into you, not only enough for you, but enough to bless everyone around you. Maybe you're in debt, in lack, down to just a little. Believe this, you are about to see the miracle of multiplication. It may be an unexpected contract, a financial door opening, a business idea, sprouting a divine connection. It all starts with the small jar already in your hand. Place your hand over your heart and say aloud, "I offer my jar of oil to you." As you speak, believe heaven is listening and the oil begins to flow. Chosen one, if you sense this flow, confirm it by declaring, "My oil will not run dry." When you write it, you are declaring to heaven and earth that you believe in the miracle of multiplication. Tonight, prepare your empty vessels. Open your heart, your hands, your life. God stands ready to pour, and when He pours, lack will end, despair will break, and only abundance and life will remain, a source of oil that never runs dry. God's chosen one, do not fear your little. In God's hands, little is the beginning of plenty, and the oil in your life will keep flowing to your children, to the next generation, until the world knows you are the chosen one. Part 9. Peace beyond understanding, chosen one. There are nights you toss and turn, eyes wide open, as unseen currents rise in your soul. Your mind spins like a wheel that never stops. A voice says, "What if tomorrow gets worse? What if the door closes? What if I'm not enough?" Your heart races, your breath shortens, as if the sky itself were falling. You know that feeling. Its name is anxiety, fear, the gnawing insecurity that creeps through every cell of your body. Yet there are also moments strangely right in the chaos when a gentle breeze passes through. Not wind in the air, but wind in the spirit. It whispers, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. And suddenly, though the storm still rages outside, within you, there is stillness, calm, and unshakable trust. You can't explain it, but you know this is the peace that surpasses understanding, as promised in Philippians 4:7. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. This peace is not like the silence after a war ends, or the quiet after a storm. It doesn't wait for problems to be solved. It arrives in the middle of them. It doesn't require the waves to calm. It shows up while they roar. It needs no reason, proof, or condition. It rises above logic. It is not sourced in your brain. It pours down from heaven. Remember Mark 4. The disciples row across the sea. Night falls, waves rise. The wind blows so hard the boat fills with water. Panic erupts. Teacher, we are perishing. But where is Jesus? In the stern, head on a cushion, sleeping. Yes, sleeping in a storm. For him, wind and waves did not define his inner climate. His inner life belonged to the Father, and the Father is the source of peace. When he awoke, he simply said, "Peace, be still," and the sea obeyed. Then he asked, "Why are you so afraid? Where is your faith?" Chosen one, if he is in the boat of your life, you will not sink. However high the waves and fierce the winds, you are safe. His peace is not distant, it is a present reality. Believe and you too can sleep in the storm. This peace beyond understanding is like a fortress. The Greek word in Philippians 4:7 means to guard as sentries guard a city. When anxiety tries to rush in, peace stands at the gate and says, "Stop, no entry." When fear knocks, peace answers, "The King rules here." When negative thoughts creep, peace raises a wall you shall not pass. You may feel weak, but heaven has placed a shield around your heart and mind. People won't understand you. They will ask, "Why aren't you afraid?" They don't know you live in another reality, the kingdom where God's throne is unshaken, his plans secure, his love surrounding you. Think of a grieving mother who just buried her son. The village weeps, yet she whispers, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be his name." The world cannot comprehend it. How can a shattered heart still worship? That is peace beyond reason. Peace doesn't deny pain. It gives strength to stand within it. Think of the early believers bound, dragged to arenas, facing fire, sword, and lions. Yet their lips sang. Flames rose, but they smiled. Blades fell, but heaven's light shone in their eyes. The world could not understand because this peace did not come from the world. It came from a higher, deeper, eternal source. Chosen one, this peace is for you. Not only on battlefields, but right now in your room, at your pressured job, inside a strained marriage, on a hospital bed. Peace flows there. It does not choose ranks or status. It comes wherever a heart opens. This peace has 3 layers. First, peace with God, the foundation. In salvation, you cease to be an enemy and become a child. The cross removes the distance. Relationship is restored. Second, the peace of God, the inner state that knows He is with you. This is Philippians 4:7. Third, peace for the world. When you carry peace outward as a peacemaker. Where you step, the atmosphere shifts. Where you speak, broken hearts begin to mend. How do we live in this peace? Paul shows us in Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. In other words, don't store anxiety, convert it into prayer. Every negative thought is a reminder. Bring this to God. As you hand it over, weight lifts. 2 Peter 5:7 affirms, cast all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you. Also, train your mind to dwell on the good. Philippians 4:8 says to think on what is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable. The mind is soil. The seed you plant is the harvest you reap. Sow worry, reap panic, sow God's promises, reap peace, and abide in His presence. Psalm 16:11 promises, in your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Where He is, peace is. Try this right now. Close your eyes, breathe in, hold, breathe out. As you inhale, whisper your peace. As you exhale, I say is covering me. Repeat 3 times. Shoulders lower, heartbeat steadies, soul lightens. This is more than breathing. It is connection to the eternal source of peace. And when you have this peace, don't keep it to yourself. Carry it. Enter a tense meeting and watch the room soften. Embrace a hurting friend and watch comfort flow. Pray simply over others. May God's peace cover you. A few seconds can change their day. Chosen one, make this declaration. Write, I receive the peace that surpasses understanding. I am a carrier of peace. As you type, you're not just writing, you're signing a new covenant declaring to heaven and hell. My heart no longer belongs to anxiety. It belongs to peace. Picture yourself on a cliff of raging seas. Winds howl, thunder shakes the air. Others tremble, but you stand steady, eyes lifted, a quiet smile. You know He holds me. That is the chosen one. The world sees danger, you see opportunity. The world hears a storm, you hear a song. The world despairs, you praise. From today, walk that way. Not because life is easier, but because you know who is with you. This peace needs no reason, no proof. It is heaven's gift. It surpasses all understanding, and it will guard your heart, your mind, and your whole life in Christ Jesus. Chosen one, receive it. Walk in it. Become a well of peace for a fractured world. And remember, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Part 10, Chosen for a Generation. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered, why was I born in this time? Why not in another century, in different circumstances? You may think your presence on earth is random, but heaven whispers, no, you were planned. You were chosen for this very generation. Jeremiah 1:5 speaks plainly. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. This is not only for Jeremiah. It is the pattern for all whom God calls. You are not the product of chance. You are the result of an eternal plan. Imagine this: before the world took shape, before the first light flickered, you were already in the heart of God. He wrote your name on His hand. He sketched your life like an artist drawing with care and love. He chose the moment you would arrive, the land you would belong to, the family you would enter. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is an accident. It is all part of a heavenly strategy. Perhaps you have asked, why was I born into a difficult family? Why so much pain? God answers, I allowed it because I am forging you to stand firm in this generation. Those very conditions are giving you the strength you need to fulfill your calling. Chosen one, you were not chosen merely to survive. You were chosen to shape. You carry a prophetic word for your generation. Like Jeremiah, you hold a message, a fire that cannot be contained. Even when you try to be silent, the fire burns within your bones. Look around, the world is in turmoil. Children are wandering, families are breaking, communities are sinking into darkness. This generation needs a voice, a light, someone to stand and say, this is the way, walk in it. And that someone is you. Don't say you are too small. Don't say you're not enough. Jeremiah once told the Lord, I am too young. I do not know how to speak. But God replied, do not say I am too young. I will put my words in your mouth. Wherever I send you, you will go. Whatever I command you, you will speak. Jeremiah 1:6-7. So it will be with you. He will give you words, strength, and courage. Remember Moses. He stammered, he ran, he felt unworthy, yet he led a nation out of Egypt. Remember Esther, an orphaned Jewish girl, who seemed to be just another queen in a palace. But her summons was this: you were placed in the palace for such a time as this. Through her obedience, a people lived. Chosen one, your calling is generational. You do not live only for yourself. You live to make a road for those who follow. You live to break family chains and lay new foundations for your children. When you choose to believe, you alter the flow of a family, a community, even a nation. Picture one candle lit in the dark. Alone, it breaks the night around it, but when it lights another and another, the whole room glows. That is you. The light within you is not for you alone. It is meant to pass from life to life. When thousands ignite, this generation will no longer be swallowed by night. You may say, there is nothing special about me. Remember, God does not choose by the world's standards. He is not looking for the perfect. He is looking for the willing. David was a shepherd boy ignored by his brothers. But God said, I see a king. He lifted him from the pasture to the throne. So it is with you. People may overlook you, but God sees differently. He sees potential seed flame. He whispers, you are chosen not for the past, but for the present and the future. Chosen one, this is not the hour to hide. This is the hour to rise. Your generation needs your voice, your action, your light. You are not placed here to blend in, but to stand out. Not to be silent, but to proclaim. Place your hand over your heart and say, I am chosen for this generation. As you declare it, you are not merely reassuring yourself, you are activating a spiritual current. Heaven hears, hell trembles, destiny is affirmed. From today, live as the chosen. Pray not only for yourself, but for your generation. Work not only to make a living, but to leave a legacy. Speak not only to share, but to shift. People may forget your name, but they will not forget your impact. Abraham is remembered as father of many, Moses as a deliverer, David as a warrior king. You too will be remembered as one who shifted a generation. Chosen one, you were not born to blend into the crowd. You were born to shine like a star in the night. You were not born to live for yourself. You were born to carry light to an entire generation. And now heaven declares, you are chosen for this very moment. Do not fear. Do not refuse. Rise, your time has come. Take your place as the chosen one, chosen one. We have walked together through the night of doubt, the valley of testing, the storm of fear. We have seen the oil that does not run dry, the key of authority, the peace beyond understanding, and the call upon a generation. And now we stand at a threshold. Before you lies an open door, behind you, the years gone by. You hear him whisper, "My child, it is time to take your place." This is not merely the end of a message. It is the beginning of a new way of life, a life that no longer runs, no longer doubts, no longer bows under fear. This is the moment you step out, lift your head, and walk like one who is chosen. Remember every promise planted in you. Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope." Luke 10:19, "Behold, I give you authority to trample on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy." Philippians 4:7, "The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus." Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." These words are not only to be read, they are to be lived. Chosen one. You can feel your heartbeat right now. It is more than biology. It is the drum of a spiritual battle, the call of destiny, the bell that awakens a generation. There is no time to hesitate, no permission to retreat. This is your hour. This is your place. Picture a heavenly army lined up, watching you with a smile. They whisper, "This is the moment. This one is a key to God's plan on the earth." Picture your ancestors, those who prayed for you, though you never met them, leaning from the balconies of heaven and saying, "Go forward. You are the answer to our prayers." Picture generations yet unborn, waiting in silence, longing for you to step into place so a path can open for them. You may ask, "How do I know my place?" He whispers, "You do not need to see it all. Take one step at a time. With every step of faith, I will widen the road. Every door you knock, I will open if it is mine." Taking your place does not mean you must be perfect. It means you are willing. Isaiah 6:8 records, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" And Isaiah replied, "Here am I, send me." That is the answer he longs to hear from your lips. You don't need to hold everything in your hands, only a willing heart. Taking your place also means laying down old weights. You cannot carry chains into a battlefield. Drop the fear, drop the past, drop comparison. You do not need to become someone else. You need to become the version of you that God ordained. Imagine a king on the eve of coronation. Until then, he was a prince living in the shadows. But the day arrives, the throne awaits, the crown gleams. He ascends, and the kingdom shouts, "Behold our King, chosen one, so it is with you." Tonight, heaven places a crown upon your head. You are no longer the outsider. You are the bearer of a mission. And here is the charge. Once you take your place, your life is no longer only your own. It belongs to a generation, to a kingdom, to a heavenly plan. You live not merely to enjoy, but to pour out. You walk not merely to succeed, but to leave a mark. Place your hand over your heart and say clearly, "I take my place as the chosen one. I am ready." As you speak, believe that heaven hears, hell trembles, and your destiny is sealed. Finally, know this: you do not walk alone. The one who called you walks with you. He will never leave you on the battlefield. He will be strength in weakness, light in darkness, peace in the storm. He will go before you like a pillar of fire and surround you like a wall. This is your moment. This is your generation. This is your hour to take your place. And as you do, the world will know that God is still moving, still calling, still choosing people for his great design. Chosen one, step out, stand up, take your place, for this moment was written over you before the world began. And now heaven declares, this one has arrived. This one is the evidence. This one is the chosen one.